Say it with me, for we walk by faith, not by sight. I know I'm like an old dude, but man, I am looking like an old dude today. Need to get a haircut, trim the beard up some, it's all bleh. Anywho, let's talk Mustang parts. No progress is getting made. I'm waiting on parts to come in, and today's a nice day. I could go for a drive. I think I'm gonna go for a drive tomorrow, and that will be one of my videos. That could be pretty fun. But we're waiting on parts. So let's look at a couple things. The costs are getting out of hand here, but there's some things I just found out about the IRS. It's really good. So let's dive in here. Okay. So we know I took these bushings out. There's still rubber inside here, and I'm waiting for. I ordered a flap wheel to get that out. Let's just kind of put on my drill and run in and out, and it'll sand it. I'm just waiting on it to get here. The local stores didn't have any of the size I need. And so I had to order one. Yeah, and I'm waiting. So I thought these were Delrin, and I've said these are Delrin. They're actually not. It is the, if I remember correctly, I'll put it up on screen too, but I think they're the IRS B45 kit, maybe? Maybe that's the part number for it. So there's a Maximum Motorsports sticker right down here. I'm going to zoom in just a touch. Maximum Motorsports sticker, and this is the Maximum Motorsports cross brace bar. And with that, the previous owner ordered. They're actually polyurethane, but they're poly bushings here. And I hadn't looked really close because I don't really know what I'm looking at all the time here. I'm new to the IRS stuff. But this bushing down in here is that polyurethane as well. And that's a kit that they have, and the whole kit's about $93 right now. And then these bushings have been replaced. These are new rubber. Yeah, I think they're rubber. They might be poly, honestly. I don't know, but they're newer and squishy and everything. So I was concerned about this one being bad, but I was trying to figure out which bushing this is because it felt hard and not squishy. And then I found it because all I had seen was that big block thing that mounts to the Ford racing cover. But then I see a bunch of stuff about that transfers a bunch of sound through the framework and then through my poly bushings into the car. And I'm like, well, I don't really want that because, you know, it's a street car. I want it to handle well. I'm not launching. I'm not a drag racer. But I want it to handle well for what it is, right? It's never going to be crazy. I'm never going to run 200 treadwear tires. I might run something at 250, 260 range, but never something super sticky. That's just not the car that it's going to be. But I want it to handle well. And I'm really happy that this bushing's done. It's got the cross brace and the front bushings. That's a great thing. So I have less I need to worry about now. It's got the 373s, which I'm super happy with. I'll get these bushings in after my little flap wheel comes in today, and I'll sand those 4 places out and get those bushings in. Then we're close to going in. So what else might I want to upgrade? Obviously, I mean, that's rough. That's way rough. Not great. So I will want to change the control arm bushings. I don't know. I'm looking at this and I'm like, the cross-axis joints actually look pretty good. These are rough. I might just replace the upper control arm bushings. I need to take a better look at the bottom control arm bushings. These guys I might want to replace because I'm going to be lowering the car and different things, and I want to be able to set the toe properly. And yeah, I'm just waiting on parts. Like, I got this guy. And so I've got both of those. I've got the control arms, and then I've got my front coil springs as well, my front coilover coil springs. But I don't have the front shocks or the front coilover kit. I've got the rear coilover kit, but not the rear shocks either. So when all of these parts come in, then like the front H&R Super Sports are coming out, the shocks are coming off the front, shocks are coming off the back, and the Super Sports are coming out of the back. And so that stuff's going to go in the green Bullet. We kind of like how these are right now in terms of suspension. You know, it's on Mach 1 springs in the rear and Bullet springs in the front, which are just a little bit lower, and then no isolator, so it's got a little bit of a rake. We like how it rides. I'm going to change the shocks on it, but the springs are good. And then this one, it could use some rear lower control arms in time. The rear bushings are starting to get a little squeaky, but even though they're getting a little squeaky, I like the stance. And there's other videos about this stance, but I really like what I did here. So it's got 01 Cobra springs in the front, cut a half coil, which brought it down just a little bit, and then Mach 1 springs in the rear. And I like how it rides. I like how it corners for what it is. And, you know, it's got the stock front sway bar, but then we added a 96 Cobra rear sway bar. And it's going to get the the bolt-on subframe connectors from this car when I do the weld-on ones on this one. Let's see if I can remember all the stuff. So the rear shocks on that one are, they're the Fox body length ones, and they're gonna go on the green Bullet, because the green Bullet's already kind of hitting its bump stop sometimes. And then the New Edge length shocks on the rear of the green Bullet, I'm pointing that way because it's out back, they're gonna go onto the Mach 1. The front struts on this one are gonna go onto the Mach 1, so it'll have a full new set of shocks and struts. It's got the C&L ones from American Muscle. I think it's C&L. Anyway, they're fine. They ride okay, but I prefer Coney's or Bilsteins. Then yeah, the crap. I was gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna throw the H&R Super Sports from that one on the green car, but I might just hold them, because to do that I would need to go ahead and do the caster camber plates, and that's another $250. This is getting out of hand, guys. So I mean, I've said numbers and other stuff, but I've got in what's sitting here, the exhaust, the drive shaft, and the IRS, I've got $2,700 in that. And then I've got another almost $2,700 in what I bought from Maximum Motorsports. So that's $5,400, which hurts. That hurts so much. I was going to do coilovers on the front, subframe connectors, maybe the control arms, maybe not. Keep the H&R SS rear springs, then have Bilsteins all the way around. And that was going to be like, okay, and a Panhard bar. I was going to do the Panhard bar too. And in my head's like, okay, that's going to be a pretty good handling street Mustang that's not too compromised or too crazy. And now I'm doing all this. So I'm at, what did I say, $5,400, and I have to get a tuner to change it to the 373 gears instead of the 373s in this one, instead of the 410s or 430s or whatever's in it. So I got to get a tuner. I got to get some different lug nuts, and I need a headlight switch, and I need some, like I said earlier, I need some power window switches too, to see about that car out there. So that's going to be $450, $500. And so, yeah, I'm at $6,000. I was only going to spend, I mean, at most $3,000 on this one, and now I'm at almost $6,000. So this is getting out of hand. I'm spending more than I wanted to. I'm sorry I don't have a video with more like progress on the cars. I'm waiting on parts to come in. I'm waiting on parts to work on the things I have. I'm waiting on some paint to come in for some different projects that we're going to do. This is where I'm at. I'm just waiting on stuff. So I'm very happy I don't have to do as many bushings. Really, this is going to be fine. The poly there, that's perfectly fine. I'm not a drag racer. I'm not worried about wheel hopping or tearing that up. Car's got 265 horse, so that's fine. Really, it's just the control arm bushings and the cross axis joints. If I were to replace all of them, that's $1,000. So that's hurtful. I might just do these because I can see how bad they are. I need to take a look at the underside, at the bottom ones. Up front where you can see them, they don't look too bad, but under here, I can't really see them that well. This is going to be cool, though, as soon as parts get here. As soon as parts get here, the first thing that's going to happen is the front coilovers are going to go in with the control arms, and I'm going to take it for a drive and see how it feels like that, see how much different it is. A guy named Frank Chavez has a maroon or burgundy Bullet, and that's his setup. He's got the 275 coilovers in the front, H&R SS rears, Bilsteins. I won't have Bilsteins on the rear because my Bilsteins for the rear will be for the IRS, so it'll be pretty close to his setup, though, so I'm interested to see how that feels. I got a wheel thing that's going to be cleaning this off really well. It's a heavier grit than what I currently have, so I'm going to get this cleaned up, but this I don't think is stainless because it's got rust on it. So my assumption is here that this is a higher carbon steel, and it is had some galvanizing that has basically been worn away. I think I'm going to paint these with that VHT flame-proof spray paint. I was going to take these and have them blasted and clear-coated, or not clear, have them blasted and like ceramic-coated and try to look really nice, but I'm going to polish up the tips, and that the aluminum or silver VHT flame-proof paint, I'm going to do on just these pipes. Those up there, you won't see those in the car. That's not a big deal, but just these rear two pipes. And at least that way they'll be clean silver, so I just need to get them, scuffed up and clean, all gunk off of them. That'll save me some money. That'll be considerably less because, money's limited. I only got so much, and I've already spent double my budget on this. So I gotta finish it, but I gotta have some cost cutting in here somewhere. I ran into a bit of a dumb problem. I've still got this bushing kit here for the front control arms, and it has some energy suspension grease in there. The propane grease that came with these bushings that go in the subframe mounts, there were 2 packs of grease in there, and I lubed up the bushing and lubed up the barrel, right, as it said, and I used 2 packs of grease of their little, this size thing, right, there you go. I used one on that one and one on that one, and so I need more grease. I've had squeaky polyurethane before, though, and I don't want it here. Now, it's not as big of an issue on these because this is just going to hold the subframe in place, and so it's not going to be twisting or anything. These, it's more of an issue to really have them coated really well. But I don't have any of that type of grease. I've got 2 packs in here for these, and that honestly might not be enough for how I want to grease these things up really well. But maybe it's a silly problem. Maybe this is dumb, but hear me out. I want to use the right type of grease. I've got grease here, but it's a petroleum-based grease. It's used a lot in airline maintenance and stuff. It's got PTFE in it, and it works really well in cold temperatures, but it doesn't do as well with hot. This stuff's gonna have exhaust running by it, at least for the the IRS and stuff. So I just want to use the right stuff, okay? And so I'm gonna use Super Lube because honestly, what Prothane or Energy Suspension charges for their grease is ridiculous. So I'm gonna use Super Lube, their synthetic grease with what they call Syncolon, or however they say it, I don't know, but it's their version of PTFE. That's what I'm gonna use, and I had to order it. No one around here carries it. So like I can't finish putting the bushings in that because just no one carries that grease around here. I mean, maybe some little store does somewhere, but I've checked like 5 stores, and I'm like, I gotta move on with my day and other things. So yeah, fun times. So I'm gonna start putting these into the control arms. I'll probably use most of the grease just on one control arm. We'll see, but it's polyurethane. Polyurethane can squeak so much that I want to do it right. Yeah, I'm using a pizza box as a table. Get over it. Anyway. The garage is a mess. Oh my gosh. Exactly as I expected. Greasing things up the way I like to. And a lot of this outside stuff is from my hands. Thankfully, I had gloves. Anyway, yeah, greasing things up the way I like to do, being what I consider to be enough. Used both of them, so I can only do one of these. And I have to wait for the other grease to come in. That's kind of what I expected, but guys, maybe y'all have had good luck with it in the past. Let me know if you have. Like, if y'all have used the grease that's supplied with stuff and it's been enough in the past, tell me, because maybe I'm doing something wrong. But typically, when I use the supplied grease, I get squeaks and issues, and I'm having to re-grease stuff. And on a couple trucks I've had to drill and tap into the control arm and put some grease zerks in there so I could continue re-greasing them. I was having to spray them from the outside with grease stuff just to get the truck to not be squeaky. Yeah, let me know. I could be wrong. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I didn't get much done, but it's a video. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.